Greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. Want to remind everybody, hit that like, share, and subscribe button for me. There's a PayPal link down in the details section for anybody that wants to share some love. Always appreciated. Of course, the panel link is down there for anybody who wants to join the panel as well. Tonight, we're going to get a little off board. In other words, I'm going to have a little rant before we get started here, but we're talking about Karen Brah. Masculinity is off the scale, folks. And we're not just talking about the women, we're talking about the men that have been effeminated on both sides. So it's a matter of not just the women getting overboard in their masculinity, but of course that's a result of men not taking their place in the masculine role and making sure that they don't step up into it and cause all kinds of chaos and havoc. This is in regards to my opinion about the scriptures that talk about set thine house in order. There's a certain order of things. And I think what we've gotten to here today, that I call Hitler's willing executioners, as I see it, is a large part of that. People have displaced their powers, not just in the feminine masculine roles, but in their natural and governmental aspects as well. We've seen this a lot longer than the masculine thing, and that's what we're really getting down to. That's what the dichotomy of having a natural presence as well as a political presence is part of the confusion that sets in your mind that there's some other power of authority. That somehow you have to kneel down to some despotic government just because they say so. And I want you guys to understand, as far as this government we have, it's not a government of and for the people. It's a corporate government. You have a republic if you can keep it. The republic has been gone for a long time and has been operating in its corporate capacity under a military regime rather than a militia. So again, it goes deeper than just the feminine, masculine aspects and the government and natural aspects. But within that government aspect, you have the natural body of a militia as opposed to a corporate body of a military. So you still have to understand that the principles of protection, no matter what they're going to be, are from the military or militia. And we have women in the military, women in the police, women in all kinds of capacities in the public that I don't think they should be. The women should be private, at home. If you want to run a home business, fine. That way the man can protect it. But as long as we as men keep letting our women out into this public venue where they're being accosted by other men or being induced by other beta males to do certain things that cause disruption at the home by changing their mentality and saying that they're empowered by certain things, I guarantee you, this is not the natural course that man is supposed to take. We're supposed to be, as men, protecting our women and children, not placing them in the very public venues where we already know, hey guys, understand something, guys, gentlemen, men, all you masculine dudes getting pulled over and accosted on the side of the road and going to jail, knowing you're defending your rights. What about the women? How do you suppose they're going to defend their rights? You have to first be able to stand up and defend you can know your rights all you want, but if you don't know how to defend them, then you ain't squat. It's like the officers that take an oath to the Constitution and don't know the Constitution. How can you then profess that you're going to protect my rights, liberties, and all that? You can't. I don't trust you. You don't know the law. You don't even know the Constitution that you took an oath to. Prove otherwise. Because if you did, you wouldn't be out here molesting everybody, knowing that that woman that you're molesting is someone else's grandma, mother, sister, or daughter, but it ain't yours. You cuck motherfuckers. So let's get into it. We're going to go to 1970s. All in the Family, Archie Bunker. So let's take a look. They've been telling you about this for decades, folks. Pay attention. This is what we have today known as diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's been going on for decades.
And let me ask you this. Leave it there. And let me ask you this. Do you think Jimmy is roaming around the White House tonight trying to find a meatloaf to warm himself up on?
I don't think the C.O.W.A.R.D.S eat meatloaf.
Who the hell are they? They're only from Georgia. Oh, let me tell you something. I am so sick of Washington and all its works and all them politicians down there and them congressmen and the congressmen. Boy, I'll bet you won't find none of them congressmen turning down their electric blankets tonight. Because if they did, their secretaries would get up and go home. Oh, read this. The Democrats is doing the whole the Democrats. And you put them in there. That's the face you had on you when you come back in the polls. Well, the Democrats' way of running this country is to go tell us all how we ought to make sacrifices. God, they're great on that stuff. But they're all going to have us over the hill to the poorhouse. We ain't going to be able to drive over there because we ain't got no gas, so we're going to have to walk it.
Oh, the Reader's Digest says walking is very good for you.
Oh, ain't that lovely? The Reader's Digest can always put a little joy into poverty. Listen, my whole pain is...
You guys get the point of that, don't you? They always put a good point on poverty. But look at it this way. That's pure manipulation, folks. And they've been doing it for decades. Wake the fuck up and come out of her.
This whole thing with the energy and everything, this is all a conspiracy. You know that? It's a conspiracy there. Listen, for years, all our lives, they've been telling us to go out and buy stuff that use energy. All electrical stuff. They got electric toasters, electric ovens, electric stove, electric stereo, electric TV, electric race, electric hair blower, electric knives, electric every damn thing. Not to mention the cars. And now, after all the big corporations there make the billions and billions of dollars worth of profits, signals, wham, they're changed. And after telling us for years that we can't live without this junk, now they tell us that we gotta live without it. The country is going straight into the dumper.
So yeah, the country's going straight into the dumper, and I've got to duck out, come right back in to get my video back. Be right back, folks. Thanks for joining. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. In the meantime, there's PayPal link down there for anybody that wants to share some love. Be right back. Okay, we are back, folks. So let me pull my screen back up, and we're going to get into it. And again, folks, this is in relation to people that want to claim I'm a misogynist. I beg to differ, and it's just a matter of point of view of our roles in nature and not in politics. There we go. In nature and not in politics. There's certain differences, and we've been indoctrinated into a system of polity, of a society of living communally that is totally based on commerce and control. It's communism at its finest, in my opinion, of course. So let's get into the first one. This is an interesting one. This is what happens when you put them in power in church.
That's a stupid question, dude.
I'm sorry, wrong one. This is Charlie Kirk. This is the definition. This is the point that these transgender people and feminists and stuff, that they have a hard time defining a woman.
They can't answer what a woman is. It's not a trick question. What is a woman?
And just as Charlie Kirk explains, you cannot use in your definition of woman someone that identifies as a woman. That is not a definition. You are being circular and not giving a definition, and that is the total insanity loop. You have to stop it. It's insane excuse of a definition.
What is that thing? You can't answer the question with the question. Define woman without saying woman.
It's a social role.
No, it's not a social role. See, that's the thing I'm talking about. It's in this politics and everything, in this societal living in these communities, that's a social role. No, it's not. It's a natural role first. And you have to give up your natural role in order to take on a social role. That's your problem. The natural role still exists, and it is paramount and the foundation of any social role after that. So you can't, again, say a woman is someone who identifies as a woman socially. In nature, what is a woman versus a man? Those are the only two sexes in human species. Those are the only two genders in the human species, male and female. What do you have as a gender for somebody that claims transgender? Is it female male? Male female? What? See, you can't do that.
What is a
That shows you're willing to babble.
woman? This is not a trick question, everybody. You're in college, paying for an education. What is a woman?
How about you talk to someone with media training?
You don't need media training. It's not a trick. What is a woman? You can't answer the question with the... It's like... What is a man? The college kids of America going hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt who think it's a trick question when you ask them what a woman is. What is a woman?
What is
They think it's a trick question when you ask them what a woman is. That's exactly right, because they think there's some kind of magic that says you can be a woman without being born a woman. Come the fuck on. These doctors are not magicians. So let's take a look at the next one, which is the one where I was a little off there in this first one. This is what happens when you put women as leaders in a church.
You're afraid? Why are you coming up to me? If you
Because I'm not afraid,
because we're protected.
but I am protecting them.
I'm not afraid because we're protecting them. That is not your role. And granted, I don't expect you to be afraid. I'm not wanting you to be afraid. But when you're in these positions and you're out there acting like you're a protector and you can't protect, someday a man just may come along and smack the fuck out of you. I'm not condoning it, but that is a natural behavior of people that are no longer going to put up with some bitch getting in their face saying, I'm protecting. You aren't a protector. Excuse me if that sounds misogynistic. It's not. You can take your misogynistic definition, shove it up your ass, and get real with life and be a natural living soul and know your place. It doesn't take anybody else to tell you that. Yet somehow you believe that because somebody says it, all of a sudden it's true and you can go out and be a man. You're fucking delusional.
Are you gonna protect him if I was really psycho?
I will take you down.
Come on, lady, stop.
Exactly what I'm talking. How are you going to protect anybody if I go totally psycho? I will take you out. The fuck you will.
I will take you down.
What are you getting all in my face for? What's wrong with you?
You are still not okay. You have not explained yourself, and I am not comfortable with you being here.
Right, but why are you getting in my face?
Because it's my job. I work here.
It is not your job to get in somebody's face because you feel uncomfortable in your privacy when somebody else is maintaining their own rights and you feel because they are watching you that that's violative of your privacy. Then close the fucking curtains. That's how you protect. You don't come out into the public, accost other people with your insane, delusional powers.
Here.
What are you yelling for? Relax.
Because I want you to leave.
I don't have to leave.
I'm
on a public sidewalk.
Then I am going to stay here.
Go ahead.
Until
Nobody's stopping
you leave.
you. I'm not leaving. You guys call the police. I have to wait here because I don't want to leave and then have them go chase me and say, what are you doing wrong? Okay.
What are you doing wrong?
So when the police get here, we'll speak to the police.
Yes.
I'm not going to be like, oh, you're calling the police. Let me take off. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong.
You're not doing anything right either.
How am I not?
You're not doing anything right either. I can't tell you that you're doing anything wrong, but you're not doing anything right either. See how delusional that sounds? You really need to shut up, woman. You prove yourself insane.
Did I go on your property?
No.
There you go.
You are recording?
Did I go on your property? No. Now watch your excuse.
Our members here.
Right? You're afraid? Why are you coming up to me?
You're recording our members here. Okay? What's wrong with that? Maybe your members should wear funny costumes, you know, white costumes with pointed hoods. Maybe that'll do you better. See, you're only trying to find some kind of excuse to meet your nice little clubs so you can have your deranged, delusional, discriminatory fucking mindset and pose it as a fucking Christian religion. You're fucking pathetic. Excuse me as I continue on my rant. And so the next one goes to the women and the aspect of the danger they will put other men in. And the fact that men, you're doing it yourself, just as we see in this. I don't see why anybody would put a woman as a lead in a church to go out in public and say, I'm protecting and act all delusional like this. It certainly looks bad on the church. So again, it's not just the women. Men, you really got to step up, not just in being aware of your surroundings, but in the fact that you're causing a lot of this. Now to preset this is an Uber driver, and some chick just got in his car. Real nice and easy. Nothing big. This is in Chicago.
Diamond.
Yeah. Go. You finna shoot up the car.
Shoot up the car.
Yeah, go.
What the
Go. He gonna shoot up the car. She knew something was going down. She knew something was going down. And she called an Uber to get out of there. Now pay attention to what's coming up next.
What is that? What the is that? What the is that?
He just shot at the car.
For what?
Let me call the police.
Let me call the police. Now you're going to call the police? You see this insane shit, guys? You better fucking beware. These bitches are insane. And I don't care what you think about my outlook. I don't put myself in these kind of situations. My companion asked me quite a few times, you ever treat other people like you treat me? Damn fucking right I do. I treat everybody the same. We're all fucking adults. Start acting like it.
Man, this.
Let me call police, Cuddy.
Yeah, see, that's now it's all calm, cool, and collective again. I'm finna call. You just put this man's life in danger. You put men's life in danger before you call the police. You understand, guys? Your life is already in danger. And all you women out there, you think you have any beef against the police and you're going to be able to beat them while you're sending your men to prison? Fucking psychotic. And these are the kind of people that you help. These are the kind of people that you're calling.
I know you ain't hopping out on nobody.
Yeah, I know you ain't hopping out on nobody. Bitch. Somebody like that. Oh, no, I'm running. You can't catch me.
With that big ass.
What the fuck happened to the physicality that one needs to be able to enforce the law with loyalty and honor when they can't even show loyalty to their own fucking temple? You slobbing pigs!
I know you ain't hopping out on nobody. With that big ass. You on a Rambo?
Sometimes you just got to say it. My picture's froze, but you can hear me still? Give me a 5x5. Well, if that's the case, I'm going to refresh anyway. I don't know why it's doing this, but I'm going to refresh and I'll be right back. We got Browns Boy with us. How you doing tonight, Browns Boy?
Oh, hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm well, despite my rant. Please don't take it any offense. Just being expressive, you know.
Yeah, expressing the need for, I don't know. I just saw like one half of a video. Seemed like something interesting.
Which one was it?
I just remember it had like a blonde chick in it. I don't know what she was fighting about. She was saying she's gonna call the police.
Oh yeah, the church gal. She was upset somebody's outside in public and video recording, and along his way he come across the church, so he was video recording the church, and all of a sudden she come out. She's gonna protect the patrons.
What was it? A SJV? Was it SJV video or no?
No, it's a pedo audits video or something. Pedo auditor. Can't remember what it was.
Oh,
but,
what?
Yeah.
And they're looking for children, or they're just
No, he's just auditing public officials, whether they be at a church or a court or a police station or a bus station or anything, restaurant people.
Right,
He's
right.
kind of like Eli.
You know who I've seen? I've seen Amagnatic Press. I've been a long time fan or whatever of the way Johnny 5-0 goes about his thing.
Yeah.
What's his name? James Freeman's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Fake Mike Real News is pretty cool.
You ever heard of Butt Crack News Network? That's right here in Iowa. Yeah, that's right here in Iowa. That's one of my buddies down in Cedar Rapids. He's giving them hell down there in Cedar Rapids. My girl Bailey down there is giving them shit. They come up here to Waterloo and do city council and police parking lot audits, catch people with expired tags and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, looking for, little tags, little Christmas colors. Here you
well,
go.
And him and his crew do this. They do it as a skit, and it's pretty fucking funny. I mean, you ought to go check it out, guys. Butt Crack News Network, literally.
Yeah, definitely drop that link if you can.
Well, let's pull it up. Let me pull it up.
Yeah. Yeah, but real quick though, do you remember a dude named Joe Citizen Ho? He was from Baltimore.
I don't think so.
He hasn't made a video in like 8 years. They must have got him, I don't know, or something. But bro, this guy's videos, Joe Citizen Ho, hilarious. Like the way he clowns on, he was the first person to show really how to start clowning on some of these people.
Yeah.
But, but in a mean way, in a mean way, not in a real nice way, but comedic.
Yeah, and that's what this is. This guy, he does a great job. I'm going to drop it in the back chat and the lower chat as well for everybody else. This is Butt Crack News Network, folks. Go check them out, and be sure to drop a comment. Let them know what you think. And let's see here, back chat for Browns Boy, and let's take a peek real quick, because like I said, he does a comedic thing. Let's check out his shorts. See what he doesn't have any shorts. Let's see if I can pull one up here.
There's a lot of ones I left out, but those were those people's videos. I exhausted them.
Private meeting.
Oh, this is
to subdue.
Check that out. This is the one that Waterloo City Council. This has got me on it. The first appearance at City Council. Let's watch this.
My name's Keith, and I think it's paramount that everybody understand that if you're going to continue with this budgeting system based upon the people in your community that you depend upon to receive those very monies, then you need to start listening to the people in the beginning. My specific issue is I want a meeting with the mayor, a private meeting. I called about 6 months ago to the ladies down in the office, and they assured me that somebody would get back to me and I would have that private meeting so we could discuss the details specifically to myself as they relate to the rest of this community. I'm not who you think I am. I'm not a resident, and I'm not a United States citizen. I'm a man that was born just like everybody else, a living soul. And when we start placating that a budget is more important than the living souls that support it, that becomes an egregious act against humanity. Can I set up that appointment with you tonight, sir? All I need is, as a member of this community, a private meeting to meet with you that has been negated for 6 months.
You can call my office in the morning. We can work from there.
My name is Keith. I hope you will pass that along to whoever's taking that call, that I'm not playing games. We are slowly becoming, in modern America, Hitler's willing executioners. for nothing more than $1. I'm sorry if that hurts anybody, but that's the reality I see. And I think everybody else needs to start taking a look at that. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir.
So yeah, this is the city council meeting. I'm gonna see if I can't find one where he actually dresses up. Let me pull this back.
Dude, that was straight fire, though. That was great. I really enjoyed hearing that.
Awesome, thanks, appreciate it. I think it's important that people understand their power and assert that power in very short, simple terms that people can't deny. And that's all I did, you know. And I didn't. You notice I didn't reference any statute, codes, laws, or nothing. I spoke plain layman terms. That's all it takes. So anyway, I'll see if I can find one of the ones where he actually puts on a little skit, and he actually dresses up, and he's wearing lipstick and a wig and all that, and he's looking for Mrs. Ming Ling. You know, they kidnap Ming Ling, and he's got a little bag of Coke and Mary Jane's. You know, it's awesome. So
I like skits.
Yeah, so it's, you know, clowning them is a good thing, as long as it's, you know, I like the way these guys do it, you know, but at the end of the day, it's getting down to the serious business. You know, you don't have any right to be suspicious of people that are just doing everyday normal activities. Just because it's more predominant today than it was in the 30s when cameras and stuff first came out, doesn't mean shit. What it means is the technology is working, it's serving its purpose, and it's doing great. You're taking our use of technology and trying to use that against us. You have to understand your power in that technology as an author, a creator, and learn how to use it as a creation. Creating your own little setups. Even this is my own little creation where I'm taking everybody else's shorts and giving my commentary and opinion. That's all it is. Therefore, this is my creation.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at the next one. And
My
as I
favorite,
said,
my favorite one is like when like a security guard kind of like cop, he's like, you can't film in here. It's a courthouse. And they go, we have permission to film. And they're like, from what? They're like, you know, the Constitution. And then they're like, no, you got to get permission from upstairs. He's like, I got to go ask the man upstairs, Jesus. You want like,
yeah, exactly. You know, who's the real boss? Where do they get their authority from? If the Constitution already says I have it, you know, the Constitution says it shall not be infringed, and yet here you are trying to infringe, saying I have to have some kind of license to first record something so that then I can express myself. So you're limiting my ability to observe, and that limits my ability to express. So you can't express something you don't know about. This is the same principle that if you don't know the Constitution and you took an oath to it, how can you uphold it? It just doesn't work. And so part of the problem is keeping things hidden. Again, the government's not working for you, it's working for itself. If it was working for the people, they wouldn't be able to hide stuff from the people. Okay, this is what tells us it is not a federal government as a republic form of government of the people, but rather a form of government that is supposedly for the people, but is actually for itself and cannot do anything for the people unless the people support it wholly. It cannot support itself. It is not independent in any fashion. That corporate United States would not exist if not for the people. Period. So the next one is the guys that you're getting locked up in prison. And again, it's not just the ladies' fault. Guys, you're supposed to be predominantly more intelligent and be able to protect yourself first and foremost before any woman. And when you let the woman's feminist traits overtake your logic and reason, you fall to the very beta cuck bullshit I'm talking about. It's your part. These people in prison are there voluntarily. They are there by contract. A man is bound by his words. But there's certain things that they keep from them so they can't unbind themselves from those chains. It's called knowledge, and one of the greatest books.
Are considered too dangerous for prison inmates. One book stands out, The 48 Laws of Power.
The 48 Laws of Power.
I heard that was a plant. That was a plant book.
No, I understand the word power and where it comes from. As long as you maintain that all power comes from the source, then you can use this book just like you can use the scriptures.
Right,
Again.
but he's using it to say that them banning it from prisons has some sort of influence, when I'm saying from the beginning it already was a psyop. Yes, there are things in it that are true, but it is solipsistic in nature.
Right, because the book talks about manipulation and everything, but if you look at it right in the perspective, you were manipulated to being in prison to begin with. That's what I'm talking about. You have to quit being manipulated. You have to understand that if you're not going to let somebody else manipulate you, you have to protect yourself from that manipulation. Get this book and learn how that manipulation works. And it doesn't mean that you have to use it against anybody or anything, but you can use it for your benefit and the benefit of others. It's called manifestation on one. This is the thing, folks. It's just like the addict. When you use the term addict, everybody thinks he's addicted to something terrible. What about Dale Earnhardt Sr.? He was addicted to racing. Just that people call that dedication.
I call that racist.
So anyway, let's get into it.
Written by Robert Greene, this controversial book is banned in many prisons across the United States. But why? The book explores timeless principles of manipulation, deception, and strategy, skills that could be weaponized behind bars.
So in correlation to this, just like I said, you can use the same thing with the scriptures, the art of war. Even in the art of war, it says, Sun Tzu says, to defeat one's opponent without fighting is of supreme excellence. So this is what we're talking about, your communication methods of manipulation and strategy. Go ahead.
So it's like tools.
Yes.
It's like it's like what kind of tools are in place, I guess.
Well, yeah, and it's a way to proofread is the way I like to look at it. You got a document, you got to put forth to the teacher a summary of a book. Now, most people write their summary up and hand it in. Me being a diligent little child, if I ever had to do one of those, I also took the time to quickly go through and proofread it, and oftentimes change things up, and would have to write a whole new page up just to change one sentence in the page.
Holy shit.
That's that perfection.
I remember like finding discrepancies, like they do mistypes and stuff, but I never did anything like that.
Yeah, and that was just so I could get the best grade possible, and that was my perfection side of me. Now, I don't have to do that anymore because now I got Grammarly, and Grammarly will just do it as I go. One of the great things of this technology, grasp it and use it. You can use it to manipulate your time to your benefit. I don't have to sit here and proofread it myself now. See what I'm saying?
No, what's what is this? Grammarly or something?
Grammarly.
Oh, Grammarly.
Yep.
Oh. Like associatively.
Yeah, it proofreads while you're typing. It corrects as you type.
Prison officials argue that the 48 Laws of Power can incite manipulation and exploitation, making it a potential tool for causing unrest and manipulating others. Imagine the chaos if these powerful strategies were unleashed in such a confined and controlled environment. So the next time you see this book, remember, its power is considered too dangerous for some to handle. Want to explore?
too dangerous for some to handle. And that's why I say it's. I agree. It's definitely a tool, but the power of the danger is also the power of appreciation. I'll call it prosperity, using it for its positive uses. Now the next one is a one of those transgender issues or feminist issues that the guy gets shut down right away. Go ahead.
Dude, these are brand new for me. Transgender stuff, like brand new. Like I'm just starting to now think about why people think about it.
Yeah, it's strange to me too. I've known about it for a long time. You know, they even talked about it in Archie Bunker days. Yeah, they talked about. Yeah. It's been going on a long time, dude.
Oh, jeez. Okay. The boxer.
Trans people are in their free right to live however they want to live and feel comfortable in however way they want to live. So I just don't understand how you.
No, Archie Bunker, All in the Family show.
Right.
They discussed it on that too, just like they discussed every other topic back then. They're discussing the same topics. They've just advanced, and they're talking with new technology and other topics as well. So when we talk about transgender, we're also talking about feminism and civil rights, and that's your diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's just expanding more and more to include all these insane classes of people that think they have these authoritative roles in society when they don't.
You have this free right idea how do you not realize that your ideas are imploding on themselves?
Okay, so
you're going to eat your ideas are going to eat themselves.
No, they're not, because the
radical conservatism is going to eat itself. How do you not see that?
Okay, so let me. I'm wondering where you're getting the right to be comfortable in all your ideas. Are you defining the right to express your ideas as the right to be comfortable in all your ideas, or the right to have all your ideas affirmed? You're here denying my ideas. That's fine. That's good.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Of course.
Okay, well, if somebody makes an objective claim about reality that is untrue, you have no right for me to affirm your untrue claim about objective reality. That right does not exist. It has never existed, nor should it ever exist.
So in other words, you can't make false claims about objective reality and say, well, I get to get my feelers and have my feelings. That's fine. You can do that. But you can't affect objective reality and say objective reality has to include you in your delusion.
Well, they're kind of forcing it.
That's what I'm saying. Don't you see it? Men need to start standing up. Women need to sit down and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, dude. That's like they got kind of like an army, I guess. I heard they're not a small outfit.
You can't call that an army. Come on. Come on.
I don't know.
What'd you pull this over for? Hey, bud, I got a question. Are you the one that said losers out the window as you drove by? I don't answer questions. Okay, yeah, that was definitely...
So he got butthurt because somebody called him a fucking loser. This is the beta cuck I'm talking about. You're in a position where you're supposed to have a certain amount of loyalty and honor and integrity. And if you get your butt or your feelers hurt, you're supposed to have the integrity to stand it like a man and let it wash off your back like a duck. But
yeah,
the first...
this could be a little gay too, because like, yeah, they always get butt hurt. But,
yeah,
you know, like the guy's action, you know, of freedom, you know, like it'd be cool if he like joined the panel instead of doing that. You know what I mean? Like maybe you think, because there's already there's so many videos of ass hurt. Like Costco ran out of butt hurt cream. I heard in like 2018 for the departments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's just the point here is to recognize that this is not a male. If this was a full-grown male with testosterone, he wouldn't get in his butt hurt feelers and use that as an excuse to accost another man. Again, I'm going to ask the same question here that the gentleman asked the lady at church. What happens if you the guy you're approaching is psychotic? What happens because this cop is in his butthurt feelers, approaches a full-grown man that's in his feelers, and has a gun? You see where we're going, folks? It's time to stop.
You, and that is loud and boisterous conduct upon a public roadway. That's public disorderly conduct. So that's what.
So he's going to stretch it every way he can. Oops.
What'd you pull this over for? Hey, bud, I got a question. Are you the one that said losers out the window as you drove by? I don't answer questions. Okay, yeah, that was.
So as soon as they pull him over, that's their. God damn it.
What'd you pull this over for? Hey, bud, I got a question.
So as soon as they pull him over, that's their question. Do you know why I pulled you over? No, that wasn't their first question. And it wasn't to the driver, it was to the passenger. It was the passenger that hollered it out the window.
Are you the one that said losers out the window as you drove by? I don't answer questions. Okay, yeah, that was definitely you. And that is loud and boisterous conduct upon a public roadway. That's public disorderly conduct.
So he pulled somebody over because he got butthurt, and it happened to be the passenger that yelled it out the window. So he didn't have any reason to pull the driver over, but he did so anyway because he was so butthurt. Now he's got to make up a charge.
That's what you pulled us over for, is you thought you heard somebody say something. What's your name and badge number? We don't have badge number. You're going to hear from my lawyer. I can't wait. This is an illegal stop.
You're going to hear from my lawyer. I can't wait. They really don't give a fuck. Okay? So yeah, I agree. I'd rather have the guy up on the panel talking about how to get these guys out of there, these effeminate bitch-ass beta cucks, and these masculine women, get them out of the churches and places. They don't belong there, folks.
You have to witness a traffic violation or suspect us of a crime. Yeah, I was going to say, would you like to hear the traffic violation?
Yes, actually, I would.
Yeah, because we wasn't speeding, we don't have any lights out, didn't do anything wrong. This is a retaliatory stop for something that you thought you heard. No, by the way, lights are required 1 hour before dusk.
That's his traffic stop. Lights are required 1 hour before dusk. Now notice the sun when this camera pans.
Why don't you get your supervisor over here? I'm not required to. You can ask for one. You're over here. I'm not required to. You can ask for 1 hour before dusk. Why don't you get your supervisor over here? I'm not required to. You can ask for one. Yeah, I'm asking for a supervisor. Or you're not getting a supervisor out here? I'm not. Okay. Don't answer any questions. Yeah, I want to be present with the conversation.
Can you get your card?
You're a public servant. Write your information down. Would you pull this over?
See? They demand identification from you, but won't give you identification. You're going to keep dealing with these insane motherfuckers? Ladies, do you feel comfortable? Do you feel protected by people that act like this? These are the guys that you feel protected by? These are the guys you're going to call after you get in the Uber and after your psychotic boyfriend starts shooting the Uber up? This is who you're going to call second? You're going to call the Uber first and get another man's life in danger? You're fucking psychotic, all of you.
I'm not talking to you.
You don't need
passenger. Roll your window down.
No.
Here we got another one where he's going to pull a guy over and he's not talking to the driver. He's talking to the passenger.
Roll your window down.
He doesn't need to, sir.
I'm not talking to you. Okay?
He does not need to.
I'm not talking to you.
He does not. Please call your supervisor right now.
He's here.
Where is he?
He's here.
Please identify yourself, your badge number.
He's here.
Where is he? Sir, please, can I talk to you over here? Are you the same guy that showed up to my house where your son hit my vehicle?
How don't you tell me? I don't know anything about that.
You don't? You're on camera at my house knocking on the door saying your son hit my vehicle.
Okay.
Is that you? What's your name?
You tell me.
Identify. Are you Clay Michael Saunders?
I'm Detective
Saunders.
That's
I'm Detective Simon. See, this is what you got, folks. These are the people that you say are protecting you. These are nothing but insane beta cuck corporate males that are there for a fucking paycheck, and they're going to go home to their masculine bitch-ass motherfucking woman, beat their ass because they're so masculine.
Yo.
And the kids are going to grow up thinking it's normal. Repeat.
I just want to add that, well, never mind. Keep going.
No, go ahead, brother. Say it. You got a platform to say it here, brother.
Yeah, I don't know. It was intuitive and I lost it, so I guess it wasn't that intuitive.
All right. Well, we'll continue then. Because again, folks, you deserve this. You deserve this if you don't stand up against it. You deserve it.
That's correct. Okay. You have a daughter named Kaylee and a son? Huh? Nope. What's your son's name? You don't have
Oh, yeah. Now I'm going to dox them.
to worry about that. Okay. Please provide your supervisor. No, sir. Yeah, call your supervisor. I just told you. Sir, can I please see you over here? Are you the supervisor? Why am I being pulled over? Yeah, you need to relax. You're being recorded. I'm not.
So again, another situation where they pulled somebody over, didn't want anything to do with the driver. They wanted something to do with the passenger. Didn't have a warrant, and it was all because of butthurt feelings. Are you sick of it, Browns boy?
Well, yeah, there's, you know what I mean? Don't start none, won't be none. Oh, what I was going to say is, what they have taught me is just keep yourself away from getting in that position. You know what I mean? Like, don't even put yourself in that position is what, one of the things I got from.
Yeah, that's what I'm that's what I'm talking about. People, you put yourself in this position. You've got to learn how to protect yourself first before you can protect anybody else. And if you think as a woman you can go out in a public venue and protect yourself against a psychotic man after you get in his face, I guarantee you, the first time you get smacked around like a motherfucking street hoe, you're going to understand you can't protect yourself. There's no fucking way. You either belong at home or you belong in the streets. You pick. Guys, that's part of your choice too. You want your woman to be in the streets? You let her walk out that door.
They want to be they want to be intelligent. They want to be right. Just like anybody else. But they do also have a little fraternity. And you know, I heard they hang out at bathhouses sometimes too.
Stop it. Stop it. Okay, so the next one, going right up the line, it's not just the police.
The judge is caught breaking the rules and walks out during Young Thug's trial.
For the DA's office, as well as investigators, sheriff deputies, Mr. Copeland and his counsel met together. None of the defense team, to my knowledge, was aware that this was going on.
Mr. Stu, I'm kind of disturbed because how did you find out about any of that?
Well, I'm disturbed too.
Yeah, he has a right to be disturbed. Because what he just exposed is that they had an ex parte meeting, which is totally unlawful. The judge sitting on the bench being involved in it is committed treason. Let's not be light about this. He committed treason.
because Mr. Copeland comes in, meets with the court. The court supposedly made statements, which I assume is somehow accurate based upon what you just said. Mr. Williams and every other person wrongly charged here is entitled under the Georgia Constitution to be present. This court supposedly said, I can hold you until the end of this trial. If that's true, what this is coercion, witness intimidation, ex parte communications that we have a constitutional right to be present for.
I'm going to give you 5 minutes. If you don't tell me who it is, I'm going to put you in contempt. How did you get that information from my chambers?
How did you get that information from my chambers? A self-incriminating statement admitting he did so.
Either that or his the prosecutor, some backdoor deal, something. I don't know.
No, the prosecutor and judge were involved together. So he was most certainly involved. So let's not play around with the conspiracy and this and that. Let's go straight to the treason.
I heard the esoteric version is the judge is a shit.
Judge is a clown.
Oh wait. The sheriff's a warlock and the judge is a mason.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. They can placate all that and all they want. This has to do with Admiralty Maritime Courts of Judicial Administration or ecclesiastical courts of equity. One or the other. You want to play your games with chessmen on a board in a battle of the forms, you go ahead. I ain't playing.
Did somebody tell you?
You should have told me.
You got 5 minutes.
You should have told me. Exactly right. He was not supposed to be having those ex parte meetings in chambers with the prosecutor and the fucking other counsel. Let's see. The next one is idiot cop.
How many times have I asked you to leave my property?
A couple times.
Okay.
She doesn't want you back on our property anymore.
She's never asked me that, but that's fine.
Okay,
You guys
so
have
what
notified
we're going
me.
to do is this can be a criminal trespass warning. So, what's your last name?
Hold on. Before I answer any questions, I need an attorney present.
I'm not under arrest. So.
You're making it out as though criminal trespass. You have informed me that I'm not to go on that lady's property. That is all you need. I have nothing else to say to you. This is now.
Exactly. I don't even care that you, oops, we lost him. I don't even care that you don't tell me what criminal activity was committed. Because at this point, it's just a warning. And like he says, yeah, he's not going to go back there. No problem. And so the issue is over. But listen to what happens. And yes, this is now the 6th time he asked him to leave.
Now the 6th time that I've asked you to leave my property. Do you see the no trespassing sign?
Yes, but if you go back over there after today,
you don't need to tell me what a criminal trespass is. I'm aware of what it is.
You're going to go to jail.
I don't care. Do you understand that if you violate my constitutional rights, that you lose your qualified immunity?
Yep.
I'm glad you get that. You guys don't have any respect. Do I need to grab you and get you the fuck off my property?
You can go to jail if you do that.
Why? There's a no.
You can go to jail if you do that. No. Yeah, you can throw me in jail, but it's definitely you're refusing to leave my property. I've given you fair warning. You're violating my constitutional rights, and you continue to violate them, telling me I'm in danger. A man with a gun is violating my constitutional rights on my private property. Don't play your silly games with me.
No trespass sign. You're not. Go. This is the part where if you didn't have an ego, you guys might actually be honorable men. But your ego makes you cowards. How many times have I asked?
Absolutely. And this is why I say these young men like this shouldn't have this kind of a job. We shouldn't have these young men with no experience, no real experience in life, and how to fit that role and set thine house in order. They shouldn't be out there patrolling the streets either. This is one of those positions that the people in the community deserve to have upstanding, honorable, loyal, and integral men that can and will protect them. This is not protection. This is harassment.
I don't think there are any risks to eating animal foods exclusively.
And you are a psychiatrist, am I
Right, I
correct?
did a residency in psychiatry.
So what do you know about nutrition? Where did you gain your background in nutrition?
Now, I want you guys to pay attention to what this woman looks like compared to what the man looks like as it goes to health and nutrition. It goes back to that cop that was like 350, 400 pounds. Who the fuck are you to talk about nutrition? You obviously don't know how to follow it if you're sitting there with a fucking beefcake face like this.
Listen, this is, I think...
No, you listen to me and answer my question.
No, you listen to me. And see, there's that masculinity. This is getting fucking outrageous, people.
And now I'm asking you to tell us where your background emanates from.
Take a look at that. That's a fat old beefcake face. Broad shoulders. Wide-chested. And don't talk to me about, well, maybe she's big-boned. She's got a big mouth and been eating a lot of food and got a big ass for it.
Went to medical school, and I studied nutrition in medical school, and I studied nutrition independently. One of the crazy things about medical school is that it teaches you how to read articles.
The bottom line is you practice psychiatry, am I correct?
I practice medicine.
And they say that men mensplain. That is woman-splaining to the max. My friend Brianna responded and said, a typical feminist, angry, unhealthy, unable to hold a respectful conversation, dominates, yells over everyone, asks a question, and then doesn't let you answer. Yeah, because they don't like to be in the wrong. J.P. Sears said, this lady seems very happy and a good person to take health advice from. Oh yeah, just like Rachel Levine.
I don't.
Absolutely, folks. This is the insanity. This is what people are following. It's like Joe Biden's financial advisor doesn't know the first thing about how the financial system works, yet he's the financial advisor. How the fuck does that work? It's just sickening.
You're gonna hit me? I'm sorry, are you gonna threaten me, officer?
Are you trying to cause a scene right now? Because I'll arrest you for disorderly instead.
Why?
Women, you do not belong in the police. You want to get in your feelers and make threats because you think that badge is going to protect you. I guarantee you it's not.
Doing what I'm...
No, you're attempting to cause a scene here with...
No, I'm not. You just threatened to hit me.
You most certainly are.
You just threatened to hit me. You threatened to bash me.
201 from 222.
I don't get threatened in public. Sorry.
Stop taking my photograph.
Notice she has not denied the threat. And now to distract, she's going to go to the stop taking my photograph. Stop taking my picture. No. I have every right to make a record of events in my life, including those of my public servants fucking violating me and my brothers and sisters openly in public because they're hurt feelers. The fuck off the force, you insane pigs cunts.
Yeah, well, that goes both ways.
Right there.
That goes both ways.
Get that camera out of my face.
I'm on public property. I can do what I want.
That's not public property.
I am now.
You are so rude. Are you recording me?
I'm in public. I'm a news person.
Hold on. Are you recording right now?
I am videotaping, which is in my constitutional rights.
It most certainly is not.
It certainly.
Do you understand, folks? This bitch took an oath to the Constitution, and she either knows the Constitution or she doesn't. And even so, most people generally learned their freedom of the press and all that when they were in school. So this is not a newfound idea. And this shit is just fucking insane. Again, you do it to yourself. You're the ones that want these people in these offices. You're the ones that vote. You're the ones that want to follow these laws instead of doing your research so you show them how they're wrong. You have rights. You got to learn how to stand up for them yourself. They're not going to do it. You're insane if you think they are.
Is in public, I have the right to record video and ambient noise.
This is not
Law enforcement has no respect, no expectation of privacy when you're doing your job. You're in uniform. You just threatened to bash me in the face, officer. That is a crime. Just because you have a badge does not mean you can threaten people. You're going to hit.
Absolutely. See, they think the law is for us and not for them. Now, this next one, this goes to show that this has been going on for generations, like I said. I don't know that this woman in this next video could stand up against this kid if this kid really wanted to waylay this bitch. This is insane.
This is a public road. This is a public road. I'm not backing up for you. We're all tired of this. You're on this road again, and the cops will be here. They've always been here. They don't care. Yes, they do. Yeah? Yes, they do. You do not belong on a street.
See how she walks up on him? That's fucking pretty ballsy. See how masculine women are? And this is an old woman. It's been happening for a long time, gentlemen. Wake the fuck up. If your grandma has more masculinity than you, then it might be time to think about some serious changes.
You're a little boy. You do not have a license. You're a little boy.
Greetings, Rocky. How you doing tonight, brother? Rocky. All right. Well, fix your mic if you're speaking. We can't hear you. So fix your mic and come back.
Get off my street! Get off my street! Get off! You're on it again!
Get off my street. See the balls? Look at the dyke haircut or the butch haircut.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. How you doing, Rocky?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good, good. Just going over some of the madness of all these men acting like women and women acting like men. It's sickening.
Yeah. I used to do First Amendment audits too.
Did you? Yeah, it's an art that really needs to be fine-tuned, and a lot of the people out there really don't have what it takes.
Yeah, my YouTube channel that I used to do them on got taken down, but I got one video that questionable authority. He cut it up and he did a pretty good job of editing it for me. And
yeah,
that was 5 years ago, though.
Well, it's short time ago then. Short time.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's finish up with this because this is just sickening. This woman cannot protect herself, and yet this is what she's out there doing, and people think this is normal. And I'm telling you, one of these days, the younger generation is going to rise up and smack the bitch out of you.
And I'm calling. And then the little boy will find out whether they care or not. You understand me? You understand me? You understand me? Do you understand me? Well, try it. I'll show you. First you complain about me mowing your goddamn yard. Then you call the cops on a side time. Now you're calling the cops on a cadet. This is a public road.
This is shameful.
Yeah, I wonder who's taking the video.
Well, it's another one of the boys.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 boys there, and she's coming up on them. You know, who the fuck are you, lady? You're coming up on 4 kids almost your size, as if though you're a fucking protector. You can't do anything in that situation if they come against you, except call the police. And then guess what? The police are going to come and do something to these boys, unimaginable probably. That's the normal course of business if it were to go her way. Thank God, as we heard, the police have already been called several times. And the police evidently haven't spoken to this woman directly enough and told her she needs to stop. Because this is abuse of the 911 system or abuse of the police system. She's the one abusing the laws, not these young men.
Yeah, why can't kids have fucking fun anymore, you stupid bitch? Get the fuck out of here. Sorry about that language.
No, it's fine. So what we've got to get used to is that we got to quit being cupcakes. We got to let people grow up in a real world and quit thinking that everything's so cupcake and lollipop dreams and shit. You know, the poppy fields will put you to sleep. Who's your poppy?
I used to drive my mini bike and nobody gave me no shit. And if like our neighbor would give us shit, we would like TP their trees and shit, throw toilet paper in their trees and shit.
Yep. So let's take a look at this one, because this goes to the FBI.
FBI, I have a video for you to investigate. Somebody wishing the death of the president.
So Donald Trump was recently shot at one of his rallies. How do you feel about that?
I wish he would have gotten shot in the forehead.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's basically like teaching our country like what communism is like. So
you wish death upon someone?
him, yeah. Unfortunately, I hate to say that because I don't have hatred in my.
I wish death upon someone because I don't have hatred. You see the insanity of these people? This is fucking ridiculous.
My soul at all. I think the way that our country has divided families, marriages, all of it about politics, like it all really started with him. So
do you think
it all really started with him? No, like I said, this has been going on for decades. Ain't that right, Rocky? You're up there with me, aren't you?
I'm 65.
Oh yeah, you're over me. I'm 58, so yeah, it's been going on for decades, and you've seen the same shit as it go over the years, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I remember when it all started. When we used to beat the shit out of homos. Now, we used to beat the shit out of them, and now they're like promoted all this perversion and shit.
Yeah, that's that diversity, equity, and inclusion. All they're doing is expanding it so it can include more perversion.
Yeah, I used to come home, on Saturdays I'd watch cartoons, and damn, I didn't know I was being brainwashed with those. They had those sexual images in there, and I didn't even see them.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's finish up and listen to what else she's got to say.
wishing someone death is not hateful?
I would say, yeah, absolutely. I would say, obviously, I don't wish death upon him. I wish that he would be in jail for, like...
Oh, now you don't wish death upon him. You just wanted him to get shot in the forehead. You just wanted him dead. Now you don't. People are delusional. They will use anything to try to wiggle their way out of their own fucking babble.
The insurrection, which he should be.
Yeah, but you just said you wish that he would get hit in the forehead.
Would have made things a little easier on our country.
Wow, how is the weather in the land of the big time stupid?
Yep. Because that's exactly what she sounded like to me, Rocky. Pure, blatant stupid. I don't know how many people paid attention to that, but that was one of the most stupid interviewers I've ever seen.
Yeah, there's a few of those videos out there. Those far left I don't know, social justice warriors, whatever you call them. I don't know what the hell you call them. But do you think that was a real event?
What, President Trump getting shot?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think there's something to it, but I'm not going to make anything of it. You know, again, that's a political system that I don't even vote into.
It's political theater.
Oh, yeah. Well, political theater, I understand the term theater, it's military. And that's why he's known as commander-in-chief of the military, not the militia. The commander-in-chief is the adjutant general at the state level, and he runs the National Guard, which is the militia side of things.
Oh, yeah.
The people of the state.
Yeah.
So
DC,
let's take...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
D.C. District of Columbia is its own territory, and
yeah,
it's a military organization, basically.
Absolutely. They rent that land from America. That's leased land, and they don't have any sovereignty because they don't have any statehood. And when we find out the United States is actually the debtor and it's located in Washington, D.C., then how can it maintain sovereignty? It can't.
Yeah.
The sovereignty rests in the people, which are the people of the state on the militia side.
Well, they trick you into joining their federal thing by your applying for a Social Security card.
Yeah,
and that makes you a federal citizen, which means they can do internal revenue. I mean,
correct.
They collect taxes from the it's an internal. But if you're
it's known as the
if you're outside, if you're not a part of their, then they don't have the right. I haven't paid taxes for like 30 years.
Yeah, same here. It's if you consider yourself a United States citizen, that's actually a United States business. And if you're a non-resident alien, then you're not of the United States corporate entity. You're not part of that business. You're outside of it. So let's take a look at this one, this next one, as it relates to the military.
Look at this footage from the Texas border because it's starting to look like a civil war between Texas and the U.S. The Texas governor is going against federal mandates to protect and defend Texas from the southern invasion of migrants. And even though federal border patrol has been going around removing wires set up by Texas, the governor has now mobilized the Texas National Guard to set up even more. So now for the first time ever, there's a border standoff between the U.S. and Texas. Because
the U.S. military and Texas National Guard. National Guard. U.S. military. U.S. being United States, which is a corporate military. How dare them? Go ahead, brother.
The National Guard, isn't that supposed to be the organized militia?
Yes, that's your Second Amendment forces. See, your Second Amendment forces is not the military, guys. Your Second Amendment forces is the National Guard, which can institute the militia at ground level whenever needed. And that's your adjutant general and the governor.
Yeah. And isn't it unconstitutional to have a standing army?
Correct.
Uh-huh.
See, Rocky gets it.
a few weeks ago, when 3 migrants drowned while trying to cross the Rio Grande River, the Supreme Court granted a request from the Biden administration to remove these wires set up by Texas to allow immigrants to cross the border safely. And now the situation is escalating because the Texas National Guard is setting up fences so these federal border patrol agents can't cut any more wires. And so for the first time in 70 years, a state governor is defying the authority of the federal government, not just with words.
Oops.
Oh, shit. Look at this footage from the Texas border because it's starting to look like a civil war between Texas and the U.S. The Texas governor is going against federal mandates to protect and defend Texas from the southern invasion of migrants. And even though federal border patrol has been going around removing wires set up by Texas, the governor has now mobilized the Texas.
And I want you guys to understand the importance of what's going on here as it relates to those immigrants and the naturalization process and the workforce employment and Social Security and all that federal funding. These guys, when they come in, particularly through the naturalization process and everything, some of these guys get grants for thousands and thousands of dollars to get their life started. Why aren't we doing things like that for the homeless here in America? See, when it comes to the militia, it's about taking care of the people of the land first, because you can't let an invasion of foreign people come in when your resources aren't good enough to supply for your own people. Now, I'm not saying we can't supply for our own people, and that's the problem. We can, and we're not.
National Guard to set up even more. So now for the first time ever, there's a border standoff between the U.S. and Texas. Because a few weeks ago, when 3 migrants drowned while trying to cross the Rio Grande River, the Supreme Court granted a request from the Biden administration to remove these wires set up by Texas to allow immigrants to cross the border safely. And now the situation is escalating because the Texas National Guard is setting up fences so these federal border patrol agents can't cut any more wires. And so for the first time in 70 years, a state governor is defying the authority of the federal government, not just with words, but with implications of force. I'll be following the story in my newsletter this Thursday, so sign up, link in bio.
What do you think of passports, requiring everyone to get passports?
If you're required to get a passport in order to leave the country that you were born in, there's something definitely wrong. Sounds like you're being imprisoned, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, my theory is that the military is recruiting some of these people for some kind of thing, and yeah, that the fence is probably going to be used to keep us in.
Well, exactly. That's part of the problem with having an immigration issue. And I'm telling you, I don't think it's an immigration issue. I don't think that it's a funding issue. I think it's a devious scheme to put another one over on the people. If the people understood the credit system and how it works, and how they can magically make all of these funds available for all these immigrants coming in, but somehow couldn't have them available for the homeless vets, things like that we already have going on in this country, and what's the problem?
Well, there's the thing that some people think that the Western civilization is not having enough children to support the system, so they're trying to import workers to replace the lazy fucking Americans that won't get off welfare.
No, it's not that. What happens, folks, if you look through history, every successful nation goes through a period of success and then a downfall in population, because their success leads to a hedonistic lifestyle where people automatically have less children.
Right.
And that's what it is. We have this American dream, and America's the greatest nation on the planet. And now it's going to go through its downfall.
Well, I did my job.
Oh, it is.
I had 9 children, so it's not my fault.
Yeah, I only had 2. As to DBA Autumn Coleman's thing here, it says, but if the District of Columbia becomes a state, how much power will they still hold as a government? The thing is, the District of Columbia, as it is a military corporate entity and cannot become a state.
Yeah, it's a part of the...
It's a lease agreement. It's literally just a lease agreement of the American soil at that point to run a military corporation that can operate as a local government for one that's been displaced, the republic. We don't have a republic at the current time. We don't have people of the state filling those republic forms of offices and taking care of the duties of the people like they're supposed to. They're letting people with insane diversity, equity, and inclusion ideas fill those offices without being qualified and getting a paycheck, and that leads them to the corruption of just maintaining the paycheck. They don't care by whatever means necessary. So it ends up I'm just doing my job. Hitler's willing executioners, thinking that some leader of the nation is going to do something great for them, and in the end, over 10 million, about the same number of people that they say were slaughtered, Jews and whatnot. About 10 million Germans were displaced from their homeland. They were told to get the fuck out. You can't live here. This is where they were born, and they were told to get out. My grandparents among them. I don't take kindly to anybody saying you can kick anybody out of the land for anything. The land is not yours. So again, it's not the people necessarily that's the problem, is it? It's the government that the people put in place and allow. Inherently, it is the people's problem. And that's why I'm saying, guys, you got to learn how to step up. These women do not belong in public offices. They do not belong in public businesses. They do not belong in public religions. They do not belong in heads of states for anything. Set thine house in order.
They're foreign agents.
They can, DBA, they can petition to become a state all they want. But logically and lawfully, it is both impossible. It'll never pass. They have to get off of the soil and release the soil to something that can be sovereign. It cannot become sovereign. Let's talk about that real quick. Did you guys know that Mussolini is the one that granted the papacy sovereignty 1952? Something like that. It was after the creation of the state of Israel. State of Israel, guys, is not Judaism. Okay? Hamas, all that's all fake shit going on over statehood. State of Israel. It doesn't maintain Judaic sovereignty. The people may, but that corporate government known as the State of Israel doesn't maintain sovereignty unless it gets it from the people. I don't think the people really want them to be doing the things they're doing if it were going to the Judaic law.
They don't go by the Torah, and they're secular, and they were created by.
Well, yeah, no. What you're talking about isn't so much Jewish. Then you're talking about the original Israelites.
Right, they're not Israelites. It's a secular government. It's a pseudo Israel, and the Christians. Right. Some of the Christian Zionists, they created that in order to see what was their so that they could say that they're God's chosen people and you can't do anything against them. So
it's part of that false dichotomy of protection. That isn't protection because you don't have your house in order. That's not where your protection comes from. Your protection has to come from the highest source and nothing else. You can't say the state protects me.
Yeah, it was
the state.
The state of Israel is not the Israel of the scriptures. They just stole that name. I think the whole purpose was so that they could claim to be God's chosen people, and then Christians wouldn't come against them and say, well, they get away with anything, that they misplaced 800,000 Palestinians when they first got there, and they're claiming that, we had this land 2,000 years ago and it was ours. That's not how it works, man. That's like someone coming into America and saying, well, we're gonna get rid of you because we're the Indians used to be here, and therefore, we're going to kick the government of America out. For 2,000 years, the Palestinians been living there, and then in the 40s, after the war, they we're Israel, and they don't even believe in the Messiah. They spit on the Messiah. God divorced Israel, and when Stephen was murdered for they rejected the Messiah. They're not the chosen people no more. God divorced them. They're divorced, and now the church. The church is the chosen people.
Well, I think it's turning more to the tide of the scripture that says he who follows the law without knowing the law is a law unto themselves. And I think that's what we're getting down to, is so many people think that they know these scriptures and the Torah and the Quran and this and that, and I don't think they're versed in their firsthand experience of relating those scriptures to their life and what they actually mean metaphorically, because they take them too literal. And each one of them is just a set of teachings, and people take them so literal that they don't see them as a teaching, but as a set of truths and facts. And so they want to sit there and argue those truths and facts. Whereas I've come across those scriptures, and I've showed so many inconsistencies throughout the scriptures that it's just pathetic. But in that, I still use them because there are certain ones that when you put the whole story together, the whole picture together, it makes it so much more sense to use them metaphorically as examples that you can put forth in your life as a set of practices. And this is why I say it's imperative that we learn the concept that if we give a man a fish, we feed him for a day, but if we teach him to fish, we feed him for a lifetime. But even more extensively than that is that we teach him not only to fish for himself, but in that to become a teacher and teach others to fish. That's the true benefit, is the knowledge. And that's what people are missing, I think. They think that they get to go off of somebody's misled concepts and ideas that they can be a woman and not even know the definition of a woman or be able to explain it without saying, well, that would be somebody that feels like a woman. No, you can't do that. You have to have a foundation of truth and evidence that supports it. And the supporting evidence is already there, that we're born naturally men and women. There are certain things in a natural course of life that you just cannot objectively or subjectively dismiss.
Yeah, of course.
So let's look at the next one. As we get a doorbell rant. This is them playing their devious schemes of power. Oops.
Anyway, if you want to watch my 6-minute First Amendment audit, put it in the private chat.
All right.
Camera right now.
All right, I'll do that. And then, like I said, this is another woman with another badge and thinks they get to violate your rights. And she's got a doorbell camera here. And this woman, this clown in this clown suit is going to come up and violate her rights, covering up her doorbell cam. So she doesn't know what's going on. So she doesn't get to see the body language and this and that and identify the one that's doing this shit. That's just underhanded and not coming with good, clean hands. We can't have people like this in a position that requires clean hands, honor, loyalty, and integrity.
I apologize. Listen, don't fucking cover my fucking camera.
Okay, there's no need for that name calling.
You know what? There's no need for you to be all covering the fucking camera.
That's an officer safety protocol that we usually
Officer safety protocol, my ass.
She's just making shit up.
Absolutely. You cannot do this shit, people. How do you confer that as officer safety? Oh my God, she might be able to identify me committing crimes against her.
Yeah.
Officer safety, my ass.
These women and these people, they get power, they go overboard. Like I remember when they were forcing the mask, and I would go into the store, and these checkout would get so much power. Oh, they would just like get power hungry. Oh, I can kick you out because you don't got a mask. And then it's like, man, there should be like a 3-month course on the Constitution before you can even become a cop, and you should have to take a test. And I think politicians should too.
Absolutely, you got to. The immigrants got to take a civil test and pass the civil test before they can become a naturalized permanent resident.
Right.
Why are we required to take that same kind of test? Wouldn't that better prepare us?
And how come politicians can have dual citizenship, like with, like citizen of Israel and a citizen of so-called America? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's all your senators. Your senators all take a dual oath, an oath to the United States of America and an oath to Israel.
They do?
Yep.
They take an oath to Israel? That's weird.
You betcha.
Protocol, you ain't covering my fucking cameras. You're violating my fucking constitutional rights. What the
fuck? Don, I am here to talk to you. Are you home?
Fuck you! Get your fucking hands off my fucking camera and get your fucking get away from my fucking camera. Show me a fucking warrant. You got a warrant? Show me a fucking
Don,
warrant.
you're losing connection.
Fuck you fucking ugly.
She's not losing connection. You're just wanting to play games. She told you, leave her the fuck alone, get the fuck away, you ain't got a warrant, and leave. But no, they want to sit there and play their silly games. And this is the amazing part, Rocky. They want to do it on camera.
Yeah. Well, those cameras are awesome. Like she might not even be there. I saw one video where they busted in a door because the guy was answering through his porch camera, and he wasn't even in the house. They busted in his door and he wasn't even there.
Yeah. It's just getting ridiculous. These people are too far out of hand.
I would advise everybody to get one of those cameras.
Oh yeah. I advise cameras as a neighborhood watch program. You can hook them directly up to your fucking monitor system on your computer and download it every so often. And then if you can, go through and review it, if nothing happened, then you can get rid of it. But you can catch all kinds of things on that film and be able to provide it as a private journal of evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to restart or something?
No. This ain't fucking Ruby Ridge 2. Get all your little fucking kids off my property.
No need for that name.
Yeah, fuck you, man. You pointed fucking ARs at me. Fuck you, fuck. You get.
Yeah, pointed ARs at her. I'd be mad too. See, and these are the people, Rocky, like I said, they get so masculine about this shit that other people will point an AR at a woman. They think they have to have an AR pointed at a woman.
Yeah, and that's a pretty awesome lady behind that camera, though. But
oh, yeah.
I wonder if there was a man in the house.
I was wondering the same thing when I watched that earlier, Rocky, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I almost skipped over it. But yeah, I wonder too, does she have a man in the house? Because if she doesn't, that would be a perfect reason for her to be acting like this, because there isn't a man. And again, that's part of the problem. Women that have to live their life without men, they have to take on some kind of masculine role. Well, the men have been leaving these women for a long time because they haven't been picking good women for a long time. And that leaves a lot of women by themselves having to take on masculine roles.
Yeah.
And guess what? Now we got these boys that want to go out and say, hey, well, I got me a sugar mama that'll take care of me. I ain't got to do nothing.
Yeah.
Sick. So let's take a look at the next one, because this is Judge Joe Brown tearing Kamala apart.
What do you got tabs open to? Is that how you do it? Oh.
Yeah. Oops. Somehow I'm not getting volume all of a sudden.
And then she was everybody's favorite Hindu Indian prosecutor and attorney general and senator, and now she becomes black. But, you know, I met her daddy, a fine gentleman, Professor Harris. And the problem with her being black is Professor Harris says he's Caucasian, mixed Irish and Hindu. He doesn't have any black ancestors, but his Irish ancestors owned a lot of slaves in Jamaica.
Whoa! We got this huge portion of this quote black community that is gonna take on Harris for president simply because she's black.
Yeah,
first black woman. That's what they're calling her. First black woman president. That's what they'd call it. She ain't black, folks. She ain't black. What, Rocky?
She's not black. She's Indian.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the first slave owner in this country was black.
Yeah. Amazing facts, folks.
And had them to work on plantation. So if mama is on the birth certificate list.
Sorry.
Say what?
I was just gonna make a joke because I'm 3% black, so I want my reparations too.
Yeah.
That is a Caucasian. Daddy says he's a Caucasian Hindu and has no black ancestors. How did she get to be black? And by the way, she told one big lie when she was talking about she got bust because of something Biden did. And then she
got busted because something Biden did. Yeah, okay. We'll have to wait and see what he has to say about that. I'll be talking to him one of these days. I know a panel that he goes up on regularly that I've been on, and I'll catch him one of these days and I'll ask him. My apologies, folks. I don't know why it's doing this again.
When you realize that your flag is gone, you need to go remedy it and get a new flag.
We got the flag. We need tools. We're going to go to a buddy's camp.
Do you have ID with you?
Yeah. Do you guys carry tools with you, actually?
Some of them
like just
do.
A crescent?
You know, maybe.
I mean, did he see me fall and break the flag?
No, I didn't.
You were literally like right there.
Do you think I'm...
So what happened was they're supposed to have flags on their bike, right? Well, this guy fell and the flag snapped off. She was right behind them and pulled them over right away. Okay? Now pay attention to what happens here.
lying that I...
No, I was just telling you. I was like...
Do you have your driver's license? Do you have your driver's license?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's at the truck. Do you have your driver's license? Yeah, it's at the truck. But you don't need the driver's license on these things on this thing here. It's for off-road vehicles, right? So now she wants, instead of his motorcycle ID, she wants his driver's license as well. Now she's mixing jurisdictions. And then watch what happens now.
I don't know that this is you without verifying you.
I'm gonna go grab the flag. God dang, dude. Well, here's where I just hid the flag.
He literally...
It just broke off.
Yeah, it's also littering to leave that one behind.
He literally just went and got it, brought it back, and now she's going to say it's literally littering to leave that one behind. He just went and got it to show you that it just broke off, and you just pulled him over. And now you're going to accuse him of littering. This is the mentality of these insane motherfuckers. And again, notice this is a woman.
Yeah, they're just looking for something.
Oh, we were a
Anything.
little behind.
Say that again.
They got too fucking lot. They're just looking for any excuse to stop you, and they just make so many laws that every time you walk down the street, you're breaking the fucking law.
Yep. Greetings, the fallen. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. Wizard, can you explain to me in this clip that you're showing here and the one before, what makes this military?
Look at the uniform.
So for her to claim littering and all of that, I mean, under the military and how this is, how you explain it is just the uniform itself makes it military?
Well, the citation she's issuing, that's known as a revenue. She wants to take private property and revenue it to the public property. So she's going to issue a citation, and that citation is going to request the acquisition of property. Well, you can't take private property except for military acquisition under the Fifth Amendment.
Yeah, the simple way to explain it is Washington, D.C. is the federal jurisdiction, and the courts are all controlled under martial law, which is military law, and they're just they're just following orders from their superiors, and their superiors are military. We're occupied by a foreign agency.
Martial law affects chiefly the police and the collection of public revenue and taxes for the expelled government or the invading forces, its army, the safety of its army and its operations.
Right.
Nothing more.
So how would this person that she's claiming is littering, how do you feel they should act in, I don't want to say compliance, but as in lawful disobedience? How should that person right there act that's in their green shorts?
Conditional acceptance. I accept the state's charges under these terms. What are the terms? Well, can the state prove that I was actually on state business to order or to issue a citation under state business? You know, that's what the citation is all about, is state business. It's an official document. If they can't prove that I wasn't on state business, then they don't have any business with me. They're going to put it through an administrative court, which is for a business transaction. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm here on vacation. As you can see, I'm just having fun on the off-road trails.
I think, was it the fallen? Were you asking what the cops should do to be?
No, what the guy should do, because he knows he's not subject. And
right, because she's trying to trick him into being subject.
And so it comes down to the terminology that you use in your private communications. Again, we've shown time and again that when you show up in that court, the court assumes personal jurisdiction because you showed up and was willing to sign documents, which are official documents. And if you did, then you didn't understand that you're not supposed to show up and that you're supposed to make your private writings. Because as soon as you walk into that administrative court, as if though you're an officer of the court, that's what you're going to get treated like. And until you learn the difference and can explain it to them, they're not going to treat you any different.
So what was that you said about conditional what at the beginning?
Conditional acceptance.
Which means he would...
They're going to name the defendant and say the defendant is a resident of the state of Iowa. I conditionally accept upon the plaintiff state's admission or evidence that the defendant is in fact a resident of the state of Iowa. No teal record. There's no such record that Keith Little is in fact a resident of the state of Iowa. Now there's a lot of presumptions, but you would have to show the income tax records. And like I said, Rocky ain't paid for 30 years. I ain't paid taxes for like 20 years now. State doesn't have a record of a resident for income tax purposes for 20 years now. What happened? Where's this defendant? He disappeared 20 years ago. And now you're saying it's me? Do you have current business records attached to me? Pretty hard platform.
A lot of these cops and military personnel, they think they're doing good. They really do. But some of them don't know what's going on, and they think.
Yeah, 99% of them don't.
Yeah, like when I joined the military, I thought I was doing something good, defending my nation. But then I found out the things my nation are doing, and so what they're going to use the military and these cops, order followers, and they're going to believe they're doing, like God a favor, like they're doing righteousness. But that's my opinion. And
yeah, that might be what they feel, but if they're not doing it with the real righteousness, by actually doing the research to find out for truth, in truth and in fact, that their job is not what they've been told, then they're going to keep doing what they're told.
That's why they don't educate the cops on the Constitution, and that's why they like stupid cops. I mean, if you got a high IQ, they don't want to hire your ass.
It goes deeper than that. It's the same thing as like in school, what Keith talks about is like they don't treat trust law. They don't teach you anything that it actually takes is that survival within that system.
Yeah, they don't teach you contract law, they don't teach you trust law, and in fact they really don't teach you civil law anymore either. This is why I find it pretty confounding that immigrants have to come in and go through this rigmarole of all these studies and stuff to pass a civics test. I've never taken a real civics test to my knowledge. Anybody else?
No, I haven't taken a civils test.
Yeah, I mean, you take basic social studies tests, but that's not really civics. That teaches you a little bit of history about various different nations around the world and stuff, but it doesn't teach about civics specifically. It might touch on it real quick.
Yeah, the more schooling you have, the more trouble you're going to have, because government schools are just brainwashing machines.
Yep.
Because they're not really they're not really government. They're corporatized education or indoctrination.
Well, yeah, they're military. They're specifically military. Same with hospitals. Those are military institutions, folks. Your museums, institutions of art, those are all military institutions. Needful places and buildings, just like your post office, just like your courthouse, just like your police station. Those are needful places and buildings on postal roads. Under Congress shall make rules for the government and the regulation of the land and naval forces. Those are land forces for needful places and buildings, posts, armaments, all kinds of stuff. They're all included. Those are military institutions.
Yeah, well, in school, they teach you to follow orders.
Yep.
Get up when the bell rings. You got 5 minutes. Be your next classroom. And they don't teach you, like, they don't let you have the Bible, teach anything about the Bible, which is a part of our history. And then, but you go to jail, and they'll give you a Bible.
Yep. Funny shit, ain't it? Funny
It's
shit.
hard to carry on the bike. They should send you guys out with tools and stuff to help us.
Well, that's not really our job.
Yeah, they should send you out stuff to help us. Well, that's not really our job. See? They know their job is not to help you. Their job is to make income. Their job is to take a check home at the end of the day. Their job is to raise money. Their job is to have you fill out as many financial or official documents as they can get you to sign.
Yeah, in the 50s, 60s, I remember they were called peace officers, to serve and protect. Now they're called law enforcement officers.
Absolutely.
You know, just in the last 60 years, things have turned upside down really pretty bad.
Well, greetings, Based. How you doing tonight, brother?
Hey, what's going on?
We're just doing some more bitching.
All right. All right. I can do that.
We're giving those women credit we was talking about earlier. Giving them credit for the insanity of thinking that they can protect anything when they're the ones that we're supposed to protect. Fuck out of the public, get back home, do your teaching, do your sales of bakery and stuff like that from home. That's fine. But the more you go out in public, the more you make it, the harder you make it for the man to protect you, because now you're commingling with beta cuck motherfuckers, devious son of a bitches that want to take you. And they're doing it. And you're letting them, and your old man's letting them.
Yeah. Now, you know, to that, I agree with you. You know, I posed a few questions recently, and a lot of women don't like the questions. So,
no.
Yeah.
It's too hard for them.
So, for instance, do you think that women, alike men, should know all truth? Well, that's kind of loaded, actually. I would start off with, should children know all truth? And we would all agree, no, there's some things probably that children shouldn't know, right? We don't want to show a 5-year-old a dead body or something, right? They don't need that.
Correct.
Probably.
Correct.
With that said, when I ask that about women, they get very upset. They're like, no, I want to know the truth. No, that's not fair. That's not right. Why should women not know? Do you think we're not as good as men? And I tried to explain, in protection at times, I think that not everything that man knows need be known by women.
Yeah, exactly. And I totally agree. There are things that should be kept behind closed doors by certain people. And those certain people are the ones that need to protect somebody that's got a big fucking mouth.
Yeah, that too, right? Protect them from themselves at times.
I have a question on that. It's like, should they really not know, or should they really be keeping that private? Like, if the man let them know, then they should just keep that private. It's not really that they shouldn't know, it's that they shouldn't brag.
I disagree.
Well, it comes down to the man's priorities, and if he really wants to expose himself, he's got to have trust and faith in the woman. Otherwise, that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to expose himself, and the woman's going to do everything to help him. So if that woman's going to open her mouth, the man better be damn well confident that she's able to, without exposing him and being sounding stupid or causing any kind of damage.
Sure.
That's our job.
Now, what about the purview of, this is my purview, and I'm going to put it pretty general. I know women hate this shit, but it is what it is that good, strong men don't abuse their power, right? Weak males abuse their power.
Correct.
With that said, women abuse their power.
Absolutely.
I've rarely seen a woman not abuse power when she gets it. It just is what it is. It's the nature of the beast.
Well, and that's why we have all these 304s and shit, you know.
Yes.
That's what they use as their power. And that is, it may be a power. And Andrew and anybody else on any of those debate shows can debate all they want. But when it comes down to that, it's the talent. Is it really a talent? Because if it's not a talent, then it doesn't really have true power, does it? That shows the fallacy of the man that falls for that fake power.
Agreed.
Okay, I'm behind. What does 304 mean?
It's a numerical way of saying ho. It's backwards. 304.
Well, I think the state is empowering women through the courts, where like women now have the they can almost blackmail you, like divorce.
Yes. They've been doing that since the 30s. This is the new deal.
That's why you got to pick a good woman.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
But, you know, to that point, Rocky, I totally agree with you. The women will utilize other men to enforce their power at times, right? Which tends to be at times abusing. So like you said, Rocky, it is on us as men to pick good women. And when we don't, this is how I look at it. When a male picks a bad woman, he says, oh, it's her fault. She was a psychopath. She stabbed me, whatever. Meanwhile, the other side is a man, if he does use bad judgment, and we do at times, right? It comes down to, yeah, she was a bitch. She was fucked up. But I predominantly fucked up because I didn't use good discretion. I didn't, you know, really vet her out before allowing her to XYZ, whatever that is.
Right. It usually ends up being when a man sees that within himself, it's like he always knew, but he let his guard down. It's almost like he always knew that was wrong, but some reason he chose to do it anyway.
Well,
And
yeah.
that's where,
So many of us have been brought up to not raise the guard so high, thinking that we're safe. This comfort and convenience has confused a lot of people. Welcome, JG. How you doing tonight, brother?
Well, if you marry a woman and she's doing, you know, you married her, she was young, and that's why you got to keep her at home so she doesn't watch TV and she doesn't think that she's got all this power. You gotta help educate your women and use the scriptures but you don't abuse your power. You educate your women. If you just marry someone and you know you don't continue learning together, like reading scriptures, and then your woman just becomes it's like sending your kids to school. She goes to her neighbors, and those women will brainwash her. Oh, your man doesn't let you. Oh, yeah. Oh, you should divorce that guy.
Right.
So that's keep her barefoot and pregnant.
You're right. That communitarianism is cope. You're right. The community supports bad behavior from women. It just does.
Yeah, and one of the things I want to point out here, you know, when it comes to that community, my companion grew up Christian, and just like I did, but I don't consider myself Christian or Catholic, and I consider myself spiritual because I look beyond Christianity into the Torah and the Quran and all these other Buddhism and Hinduism and all that, and they all project pretty much the same basic concept that Christianity does, and that is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That when we work together, we achieve greater things. And oftentimes, it's very few men that have to work together to do those things. And so she's the one that has the scripture. She's the one that has the red letter Bible, you know, and she's the one that thinks she knows these scriptures and stuff. But when it's me that comes along and shows her my interpretation of the scripture, that she finds more faith in me, even though I am not Christian or Catholic. Does that make sense?
Speaking of the Bible, I got into this airport with just a Bible, Keith. No ID. Yeah. I did it, man.
Get on. Go ahead, Base. He's trying to play with us.
Yeah, leadership, right? You were describing you're leading her, right? So that's why I say more accountability on men in terms of most women pretty fucked up. But with that said, most men fucked up and leading or allowing, right? Because as Rocky said, the courts will support it. It's courts with enforcement that are men. It's men at the top. It's men not pushing back. You would never see women push back and forcefully overtake anything, if you know what I mean. It would be up to men, right? And men have not done that. They haven't held politicians accountable.
Yeah, and that reminds me of my own story with my ex-wife, the only woman I ever actually got married to through a state license. And before we got divorced, we got into an argument, and it was in the living room. And I told her, okay, I'm done arguing. I'm going to go out to the kitchen and make dinner. Let me calm down. She comes out to the kitchen, right back at it. I said, okay, you make dinner. I'm going to go out to the garage and calm down. leave me alone. She comes out to the garage, right back at it. Say, okay, I'm going to go outside. You need to leave me alone. I go outside. She's right back at it. So then I say, okay, I'm done. I'm leaving. She steps in front of me, physically puts her hand on me and says, you ain't going nowhere. I threw my soda down and I said, bitch, get the fuck out of my way. And of course, by then, you know, it's loud, and she's got 4 or 5 witnesses that will say I got in her face.
Right. Yeah.
But didn't witness what happened first before I got in her face. So don't sit there and tell me, don't sit there and tell me you're going to get up on the stand and profess that you're scared shitless of me, and now you want a protection order out of me after all of that. That proves you weren't in fear of me. You were pushing the buttons and using the system. Get the fuck away from me. Don't ever fucking come near me again. We're done.
Right.
I don't play games, folks. She asked me if I treat other people the same way I treat her. You're damn fucking right. I ain't going to treat you any special unless you treat me special. When you treat me special, you'll get the same in turn. When you treat me like shit, you're going to get the shit in return. You want to act like a stupid idiot, I'm going to tell you you're acting like a stupid idiot. I'm not going to play games.
Yeah. Yeah, I think more men should be willing to fire, meaning hire slowly in terms of dealing with women and friends for that matter, but speaking of women, and be ready to fire quick, meaning fired, get the fuck out, you're blocked, you're gone, goodbye. And I don't mean to do it frivolously, of course, I mean in balance, but women cross lines before they cross bigger lines, if you know what I mean. Right? There's always a buildup, there's always flags.
Right. There's a mental stability that they try to put in there so they can go forward with it, but it's already built on sand. That's the only problem. You can't do that, ladies. This isn't about sandcastles.
I think that was some pretty good advice, that when you start an argument, you should just walk away and your wife following. And that's one of the reasons I have this this place down in town, so I have some place to go.
Yeah, and
she normally don't follow me around.
See, and that's what she understands too, guys. You've heard me tell you about how I went off to the Appalachians for 7 months, went down to the Ozarks for 2 fucking years. She knows I will walk right the fuck out that door if I want to. And it doesn't even take any incident with me and her. There might be a day I just decide I need to get out. I'll be back someday, but I don't know when. You got to be good with that.
And I've talked about before, so this is nothing new to you two, but I got stabbed by one, literally, physically. And it's all because I went to leave, right? I went to do what you're describing, which I agree with. It was just, you know, some brewing bullshit. She was drinking. I mean, I had some drinks too, to be fair, but it was getting erratic, and I was like, I'm out of here. Like, I'm leaving. That was it. Wasn't yelling, wasn't doing anything else. Went for the door and jumped in front of it and stabbed me.
Yeah, they will do devious things, and that's
and then threatening me if I leave. Right? Yeah, they're emotionally sporadic, erratic, out of control. A lot of them. Not saying all completely, but yeah, you have to be ready to deal with that. It's a big, could be a big responsibility, big deal.
Yeah, I think women, in not having the role of the masculine part, being out there and having to think logically so that we can provide the conveniences for the women. Otherwise, you'd still be sitting out there in a motherfucking outhouse in the middle of wintertime trying to take a shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, my wife has tried to do that with me, and so I will leave, but the Bible says, in order to dispel this Jezebel type spirit, you eventually have to confront it. So I have confronted my wife verbally, and I've taught her what the fuck is going on. And so you have to confront these spirits of Jezebel, otherwise they'll never go away.
Well, that's the outhouse thing I'm talking about, because we can provide all the comfort and convenience for our women and children, but those are physical comforts. We can't provide a emotional comfort except to be there for you and to provide those protections. When you disallow us from being able to provide them, you get deeper and deeper in your feelers.
So if I could give a little nuance kind of question, but I'm also going to tell you how I think is when I see signs of disrespect, which could be as little as woman who maybe I just started talking to calling me bro, right? If she's like, oh, bro, you wouldn't believe, and maybe it's kind of by accident, but I'm not saying I immediately cut it off right there, but it's definitely fucking noted. You know, I may or may not say something depending, but I mean, even these small terms of disrespect, I think should be looked at.
Well, and I don't know if it's so much a matter of disrespect, but a different perspective on a relationship. So when a woman all of a sudden starts calling me bro, then I just change my perspective on the relationship. Well, we ain't getting in bed, but you know, maybe we'll go down and do Dutch on some fucking dinner or something sometimes. You know, you're gonna have to pay for your
I
own.
vetted some of these. I mean, we were already, I mean, for instance, right? And afterwards hearing something like bro, it's I look at it as a combination of you don't really respect men / me, and I don't know where exactly the line is, but at a certain point I don't care. And obviously that's sort of a small thing. I'm just making a point that there's always lots of little things that you can pick up on if you're paying attention. But if you're in a state of, oh no, she got the pussy and I haven't had pussy in a while, or that type of thing, that thirst, I think that's where a lot of men go wrong. Is they just you know, they're addicted. It's addictive. I've been addicted. It is what it is.
And that's that young stud wanting to get out there and mix with the mix out in the pastures. And we've got to understand, if we're going to grow up and provide for a good family, we've got to stop doing that as young men. We've got to be substantially more protective of ourselves than any woman ever does.
See, I have a question now. All of this leads back around to that female copper with that helmet on going, yeah, we're not really here for that. You know what I mean? As in a woman, as in herself going, I'm not here to help you as, let's just say, a man or whatnot.
Yeah, that's specifically a woman's role in society, is not so much as to be a protector, but to help people. And here she is, she's taking upon that masculine role of being a protector and admitting that she's not really protecting. She's not here to help and protect you. She's here to give you a citation. It's delusional.
If I can pose another one here, is I believe women have traded, and I mean this societally, I don't mean every single one, of course, but women in general in America, particularly westernized, have traded off singular men for portions of many men, whether those portions are through money, OnlyFans, attention, validation, Instagram, whatever the case. But in a sense, she's giving pieces of herself out to a very wide audience of men, depending on the women. But I'm saying generally that seems to be what's going on. And therefore they say, well, I don't need a man, I want a man, because they already feel that they have the man they need in terms of the providership that they get in many different ways that men obviously do not.
Right. They do that even in business. Like if they have their own business or call themselves, let's say, an entrepreneur, they do that exact same thing in their business.
Well, and it changes the whole structure of the king and queen concept, in that she's being treated as a queen by all these guys that are lusting after her. She's living like a queen anyway, most of them, or a lot of them. But the reality is she will never find a true king, because she has this king model that is perfect, and you will never find it. Whereas the true king and queen work together to improve each other from their very worst to their very best. You have to have that. You have to have that relationship of support and honor and integrity between the two, in order to instill that in any further generation that those two will bring forth. And anything less, that's why we've got what we've got today. Nobody really cares anymore. It's pathetic.
Yeah, I agree. Also, though, I agree with what you said, but another angle perhaps is that if she did, you know, this kind of mean, median, average woman, if she did find this king that checked all these boxes type of thing, he wouldn't want to deal with her. He would be like, fuck off.
Well, yeah, and that's what they talk about on the Crucible and whatever and stuff is that, you know, these 304s that have been out there doing all this for all this life, and they think that's the glamour and they're a queen. When they find that king, the king's gonna say, "Really? That's not talent." Like I said earlier, those aren't talents. It shows me you were a hoe, but those aren't talents.
Right. Now, one place I disagree with them, they talk about, oh, we need women to change. We need people to change to become better. I agree with that. That's men and women. But to think that women are going to lead the change is fucking retarded. It has to be men. It has to be men at times rejecting these women. I'm not saying to go around rejecting. I'm saying more of that. Get them more off of their pedestal into reality. Because the reality is, another disagreement I have with them, women don't have it easier overall. They have it easier in certain ways for certain amounts of time. 40-year-old cat women going into 50, 60, 70, living alone and gave away their body 100 times. I highly doubt they're happy, even if they are in a mansion, which is very unlikely, but even if they are at that point.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier too, guys. Don't get it confused by this the title and everything. This isn't just about women. This is just pointing out that no matter what you want to call me, a misogynist or whatever, I do have an opinion about where women should be. And it has to do with those scriptures that I use, not as a Christian or a Catholic, but against you, because that's what you so much believe in, where I use it as a logic that set thine house in order seems to be reasonable. That if you have credit from anything, it's from the source that gave you life. Therefore, the life that you want to get together with another woman and produce needs to have that same authority. Not from a woman, not from the man, but both man and woman working together with that source. Without it, you're screwed. So I don't care if you want to call it God or Allah or anything. I call it the source of life. And where I come from, that source of life says I've got a role in this life, and that's as a man. I got a cock between my legs, not a dick, not a penis, a cock. And I'm supposed to crow like a motherfucker. I don't see why anybody has a problem with that.
And I notice, you know, because look, you were on my stream earlier and it was sort of about this stuff, you know, in particular, Cynthia saying that I need to give women more credit. And of course, I'm going to jump right into it. You're saying I need to give women more credit. Let's do it. Let's dissect everything. But anyways, I was on before I came on here, People's Podcast or some shit. I don't know. It was pretty low IQ. But anyways, there was a woman on there. I didn't recognize at first, but she recognized me. And I guess we did like a speed date thing, which I hate those things. They're fucking dumb. But anyways, I got thrown into it. And during the middle of it, I remember she was like, "Oh, I'm very honest." And I was like, "Oh, you're honest. Okay, what's your body count?" Right? I wouldn't normally ask a woman that. I don't ask women that. But because you're so fucking honest, let's hear about it. You're an open book. And she says 35 or something. And I was like, "Oh, damn." Like, I'm good. And she was hella offended. And she's like, "Oh, you're a red pillar. You're a red pillar." And I was like, "No, I'm just grossed out by your number, right? You had 35 dicks inside of you. So
was that
not
Summer?
somebody." Nah, I can't remember her name. She dark skin, darker than me.
That's not even that much though.
Yeah. Yeah, you hear some of these gals 50, 55, 70. What?
Nah,
How
hundreds,
does
man.
that not?
You go
How
to
does
the
that
hood,
not
these chicks
prove?
got hundreds.
How does that not prove well educated?
The body count? I don't think it has anything to do with education per se. Poor leading, poor fathership, poor reigns, whatever happened into adulthood. But I don't know if there's an education correlation.
Well, it shows me that they were just trying to, you know, mess around instead of taking something serious.
Yeah, shows me she fell for the okie doke, which a lot of women are, unfortunately. Right? They're thinking, well, I can act indiscriminately with my body, my vagina, and there will be no long-term consequences, no problem. And it's not true. Reality shows you it's not true. So anyway, she was hella butthurt. And when I came on today, must be like 6 months later, The whole time she was just butthurt about that. I didn't bring it up. I didn't bring up the body count thing, but she was just trying to dig at every angle. And it's like, look, you're over here like, you know, women like, oh no, we should get all the truth, all the truth. Then when I tell you the truth, oh my God, how dare you? Well, it's true. So why did you ask for it if you didn't want it?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it might help her, honestly. Might help her tighten up.
I mean, but that works both ways, right? Because he actually asked the question, she gave him the answer, and then he said what he said about it. So it's almost like, in some way, that works both ways. If you didn't want the answer, you asked the question, then why hassle about the answer?
No, I did want the answer, and I'm glad she told me, because I would just not deal with her. I don't take her serious. I mean, and it's not just literally how many dicks were inside of her. It's how women act the more dicks that they have inside of them. They less respect men in some terms. They less respect themselves in a ton of terms. So I don't want that. So I wasn't upset about the answer. I was glad.
Yeah, they'll sit there and say, I've already been through 35, and bitch, you ain't the one, so I'll go through another 35 if I got to.
Right, out of spite, out of ego. Yeah, you'll show me.
Yeah, show me. As long as you show enough people, you get paid well for it, because otherwise you still ain't no talent.
It's harsh reality. And men have their own harsh realities. I don't think body count is as heavily weighed, but there's plenty of things that men fuck themselves up with. I fucked myself up plenty.
Well, the body count itself on either side is one of those things we really have to be discerning about. Because even as a man, what if I'm one of these males that goes out and does these one night stands, and I've got 17 kids out there? Is that going to be effective to the financial system I'm trying to support and show people how to live in?
Right.
So again, as a man, we have to protect ourselves so much more than any woman ever will have to.
Oh, I totally agree with you. And by the way, historically, this is my understanding. The numbers may be a little bit off, but when I looked it up, throughout history of the world, 90% of women, adult age women, or maybe including younger, depending on the country, have reproduced 90%. And for men, it's been 40%. I've heard different numbers. Those are the best I could find. But anyways, what that means is for every man that reproduces throughout the history of the world, that he has 2.1-ish baby mamas.
Yep. Amazing statistics if you look at them. But again, you can find other statistics too. So it's one of those things that we actually need to contemplate as a prerequisite to prevent those kind of things. Not as if though they're actually real or anything, but it is something to contemplate and say, well, that is one of the things I really need to protect myself, because I really don't want 2.5 mamas. You know, that dwarf, I might end up with dwarf kids with that half mama. You know.
Yeah. Ideally, all in the same family together forever. Ideally, I agree.
Yeah, and if you're gonna have those 2-3 babies mamas, it would be a polygamous type relationship where they're all in the same family still, which is still, you know, recognizable around the world, and is the basis of Jacob's ladder for you Christians out there. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I get that too. Plus, it's the children, let's say the baby mamas, but how many males are you producing to how many females you're producing, and how would you actually want them raised up within the society that you've actually just added a population to?
Well, and that's the importance of being able to realize that the foundation of a nation is each family. So as each family, you should have the powers to make those decisions yourself without the interference of a public education system, without the interference of a religion even, without the interference of a political system, without the interference of anything. Naturally, we don't have a cost of living. Ask Jacob. See, I think I think that's the big problem, is everybody thinks that we have to depend on this cost of living. That means we've got to depend on the government. No, you can do it without the government. You can do it without the government's money. You just have to learn how to live naturally. And again, in a natural world, you keep your house in order because you don't have a military to protect you. You got to do it yourself. Oh my God, that's too much. That's why we're where we're at today. People don't want to take that on.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, that accountability is tough. People rather, and I think you hit on it earlier, was that they want comfort and convenience, and we've traded off so much for comfort and convenience. And I'm not saying that some of them aren't good. I like some of the comforts and conveniences, but we've also gone extreme in many ways, adding to a lot of the problems that we have now. We've lost security, our own personal security. We've lost authority. We've given it to the government in terms we've traded it off for these comforts.
Yeah, one of the biggest comforts is that damn ID. We get indoctrinated into that in preschool. They start teaching us how to read and write our name. Then they teach us how to put it on that national address as if they were a resident for the United States. Quick and easy, guys. Man, you guys are easy. I was easy too.
When the government started taking over the job of the church, which was charity. So the church is supposed to be in charge of charity, not the government. And like the church has rules, though. You don't work, you don't eat. You know, And but I remember when they started, you know.
Hold on, Rocky. Hold on, Rocky. I got to take care of the dogs real quick. Hold up the table for me, guys. Keep it going.
Yeah. Well, I have 4 daughters. No, 5 daughters. 4 males. Men. I mean, my children are all self-sufficient. We lived off grid. We learned how to do things. It was homeschooled, and my children aren't perfect, but none of them are on welfare.
How many are married?
I didn't hear you talk about me at all.
Well, one of my daughters is married. Let's see, one of my sons is married. They're not in a hurry to get married. They can't. My daughters can't find a good man, so that's what they're saying. And see, my boys are a little young still. They're 20s.
Well, and I can see how it could be hard to find a good man today because we're out of time. In case you didn't realize it, there's a lot of people up in arms. I've noticed these panels. We got this. This is a topic of discussion that's really, really fired up, and I think it's got a premise on there that our younger generation is waking up, particularly the young men. They're seeing how they're endangered. They're seeing how they need to do their protection, and they're going to shy back, like you were saying earlier. You can get a little timid and say, wait a minute. And they're going to start thinking, and they're going to look for the older men that really have their lives put together, and they're going to start seeking those counsel. Hey, how'd you do it? Because there ain't very many people around doing it. And that's probably the only way you're going to learn to do it.
Hey, Rocky, can I ask, do you think, and I'm just asking if you think, that your daughters are having a hard time because it is that hard or that their standards are too high? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Standards are too high, and I don't know. My children aren't, I brought my children up the best I could. Now it's they got to make their own decisions, and I can't make their decisions for them. And it's like, once they get out in the, they leave the house, they're so bombarded. I mean, I can't control them no more. They get to learn their own experiences and stuff.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So I think my daughters don't want to jump into marriage because they see problems with, maybe I was a bad example or something. I don't know. But that thumbnail up there, that's my third from the oldest son. I put him up there because he kind of looked like I did when I was a kid.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was you, like younger.
Yeah, I was thinking it was you too. Yeah, yeah, I thought it was you. But yeah, that's a good point. You know, the perspectives we have of what we deserve in our own lives and what our outlook can many times be misguided.
Mm.
You know, we grow up in these, like I said earlier, the comfort and convenience, and these sandcastles that look beautiful and everything on the outside, but when you actually start living the life and you actually start learning that, you know, and it's going to take years, decades even, to learn how to raise, say, 18 children.
Mm.
You know, that's a big family. But if you don't have that long-term outlook and that long-term plan to do that and have the gumption to go forth with that standing and say, I'm going to do this, and know that it's such a huge task. I mean, it's so much greater to raise a family of 18 children than 1 or 2. That's for damn sure. And that's part of the comfort and convenience that I was talking about earlier, as well as the fact that this is a successful nation. It's part of history. Go back and read history and see how the downfall of a nation comes from a downfall in birth rates, because the population of a successful nation tends to turn to hedonistic ways. Comfort and convenience.
Right, but doesn't that include the, let's say you can be like who you are and steadfast in it and claim, okay, I raised 18 children. Or can you say, I'm who I am and I recognized who each of my children were and did the best I could with those 4 children and claim that I did better raising them 4 children than just some single-minded person raising 18?
Well, it's not a matter of comparing yourself to another, but comparing yourself to your abilities and knowing that, hey, I think I can do this, and I'll be damned if I'm not going to do the research that I need to be a good daddy. In that, I need to be able to pick a good mommy. We have to have the like views. We both want to have large family. Okay, that's the first step. Do we want to raise them Christian, Muslim, whatever? That will determine what kind of woman I want to bring in. Remember, we marry foreigners. That's the dowry of bringing 2 nations together. The legacy is the story. So you have a material inheritance, the dowry of one nation that comes together with a story of another. That's the legacy heir of those nations coming together and bringing up future generations of nations that get along and not war. Set thine house in order. Like I said earlier, every nation is dependent upon the family as the foundation. It's what the families believe is that nation's God.
Well, that's biblical, right? When they talk about who would build a house until they first measured it and knew what it took to like make that happen, who would actually, you know, that would be the proper way to build something, is know what it took beforehand, put that thought into it before you built it, or it ends up getting built on sand.
Yeah, that's what builds things, the forethought, not the afterthought of your emotions. That's what destroys things. Everybody looks at the world and sees chaos and their emotions being in chaos. If you put your emotions in order, you will see that no matter what chaos there is, you can put in order to it.
I agree. Hey, and I do have to hop off. Thank you for having me on. And
anytime.
Rocky, Fallen, JG, have a good one.
You bet. Thanks for coming up, brother. Appreciate it.
So,
yep. We'll see you.
See you later. Well, when I was starting my family, I wasn't rich, and I didn't let money prevent me from having more children, because I figured they motivate you. They get you to work harder. I mean, you got to support your family, so they're good motivators, and I love children, so
Well, yeah, and the better relationship you have with your family, the better motivation you have. This This is why we have this problem today. People don't have such good relationships with their family. Those poorer relationships get even more distilled because of alcoholism, addiction, and all of this. And it's because of this societal living and everybody thinking about this diversity, equity, inclusion, and that they belong here. You don't. This isn't the real world for real men. The real world for real men is the natural world.
Yeah. So when I started my family, I wanted to have more control over them. That's why I went off grid, lived off grid, and I tried to get away from, the government telling me what the hell I can do. I homeschooled when it was still like unlawful. You had to do all this. It's not unlawful, but illegal or something, So I fought the system.
Well, it was frowned upon.
Yeah. So I tried to fight the system, get out of Babylon, raise my children under my own beliefs, tried to protect them from the schooling system. I tried to let them know that hard work and working is not a bad thing. And it turned out pretty good. I mean, they're not perfect, but whatever. I did the best I could.
Yeah, well, and that's all we can do is the best we can. I wish I could have done better in my family, but crying out loud, look, it was a destroyed family when I was 5 years old. Mom didn't care for us. Dad didn't have any way of controlling his alcoholism. Was severely abusive. Got put into foster homes, and then the parents that did adopt me and my two younger sisters, they worked for the government for all their life, and so it went from one extreme to another. And of course, the foster homes were just a jumble of all different kinds of dichotomies and religions and everything that I was subjected to, and just various different abuses and forms of abuses. It was amazing. It's not just physical abuse, sexual abuse, but mental abuse. And it's, for my little mind, I was always the guy saying, fuck you, you ain't my daddy, from the time I was put in foster homes. And it made me look at people in a much more discerned way in, like I said, protecting myself. I didn't have anybody else protecting me. When I was put in foster homes, I had to protect myself. That's the way I saw it. That's the way I've seen it ever since. And so I think it's more natural than scriptural or anything like that. And that's why I say I don't even care if you want to call me a misogynist. To me, it just makes sense in a natural way that if I get with a woman and I truly want to protect her, I go out about the world. She stays at home, and I provide her with a sturdy, protected home.
How do you consider that's natural and not spiritual?
Well, even without the spiritual sense, it's just me and her. If I really want her, if I don't have a spiritual sense about me, but I love a woman, I want her in my life so I don't get lonely and all this, and that's that spiritual connection that I'm not even recognizing, that's what I'm talking about. That's the natural sense. Even without the spiritual sense, there's a natural sense that exists, that you still want somebody else in your life so you're not alone. There's something instinctual that says, I want this type of being, which is a being just like me, but a different sex, so that we can get together and do our thing in life. Not something that some spiritual God might have set in our heart, but what is instinctual for even any other animal. To get together and procreate, the most basic sense of survival, and you need to protect that. So if you need to protect that, part of your protection of your survival is to get with a woman and bring in a new life. Somehow that's a natural process, not spiritual. The spirituality comes from teaching that next life how you did it without interfering with anybody else, by not allowing anybody else to interfere with you.
Right. Only if you were able to do that. If you weren't able to do that, then you couldn't pass that on spiritually.
Correct. Correct.
Well,
that's where the spiritual part comes in, is the teaching. Is to teaching the next member the ways of life as his role in life.
Well, one of the first prerequisites, well, the first prerequisite for me choosing my wife is if she believed in Jesus, and so I wouldn't be unequally yoked. We had the same religion, and so that was my.
Well, that's why your daughters turned out how they are.
Huh?
Shut up, JG. He's giving you shit. All right, well, guys, it's been over 2.5 hours here already, so we're going to shut her down for tonight. Words on the way out, please. And remember, folks, this is not just some kind of misogynistic view against women. I'm trying to tell everybody that we all need to step up, and I believe there are certain natural roles that people are supposed to fill. It's not very confusing. It's actually pretty simple. And what we've got today in today's society, all this insanity with civil rights, feminist rights, transgender rights, gay rights, all of this, it's all bullshit. Every last bit of it. We have a greater responsibility to ourselves and the protection of ourselves in the natural procreation to let some kind of government bring the downfall of our population because we fall to hedonistic ways. There's something more important in life than just having fun in our comfort and convenience. What do you got, guys?
Okay, I'll go first. I'll say this in closing this out for myself, is that if there wasn't a place for a woman in my life, I believe they wouldn't have been created.
I like that. I like that. Well said. Well said. All right. And thank you, Fallon. Always glad to have you up. Please be sure to show up again next time. Keep the topic going. And JG, what do you got?
I'm trying to stay on topic here. I got nothing on topic. I was going to say something else. But...
All right. Well, say what you got to say. You know me.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people offended, like you're saying, you know, being called a misogynist. I think a lot of people are just offended over the wrong things. Like, if you spit on me, I'm offended, and I have a right to be offended, right?
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of people are. You see a lot of people get offended over nothing, and they think they're in the right, but they're just in their feelers. They're coping, you know.
Yeah, that's why I don't.
Coping in a bad manner.
Yeah, and that's why I don't take any offense to people calling me names and stuff. I understand that's just a displacement for their own inability to handle the situation at the moment. Why would I get upset about that? I have to allow them that so that hopefully one day they can get better and be able to handle the situation without all the ad hominems and distractions. So
It's just narratives. It's all we see is narratives. Everybody's got a narrative. Government's got a narrative. Liberals, everybody's got some made-up narrative where it's not pulling the money. It's just nonsense. Dysfunctional narratives.
And that's why I'm not trying to point out that it's a woman problem. Inherently, more incessantly or insistently, it is a male problem. It's our responsibility to protect. And in that, we have to be able to learn how to put our woman in place so we can protect them. And it's not by belittling them or anything, but letting them know that's the only way we can truly protect you. You going out here in the workforce and getting beat up and having all these issues, that's part of the downfall of this population. You know, the hedonistic view, you want to go out and enjoy life, and you think it's fun to be a police officer. That's not your place. You want to be a police officer, go get your Barbie doll set out and get the police officer doll out and play there. And I'm sorry if that sounds rude or anything, but that's truly my thought. You don't belong in a uniform with weapons against anybody else, man or woman. So again, thanks for your support, JG. Always appreciate it. And again, come again next time. Love you, brother. What do you got, Rocky?
JG, see you later. Oh, you know, if you're looking for a man or a woman, you might have to not be so picky with the count any more days. You might have to find yourself a woman, separate her, and you and her have to change and become better people.
Right. That's what I was saying earlier. Sometimes if you're looking for a king, or guys, if you're looking for a queen, oftentimes you're not going to find the one you're looking for, but you can find one that, again, and it takes discernment, that you can see is willing to mold themselves into that queen with you as you allow them to help mold you into the king you need to be for them. See, being a king for a queen doesn't mean just being who you want to be. There comes those obligations and responsibilities. Same thing with you women. Being a man's queen comes with responsibilities and obligations. Now, one king might want you to make his lunch for him every day while he goes to work. Another king might want you to go out and get a job. That's for you guys to discern. I'm telling you, I don't think women belong out in the public. If you're going to send your women out in the public to go ahead and get a job so you can have a more wealthier life and not worry about children, that's fine for you. It's not the way I would live my life. I don't think it's the way it's meant to be lived. Of course, there are places in life for people like that in today's world. So be it. Hopefully, enough of us will stand up and do what we're supposed to in our natural roles and be the natural living souls we're supposed to be. What do you got, Rocky?
Yeah. So I would say, I don't know nowadays, but get married, have children, don't worry about the money, because the money always seems to find, like, and money's normally, when you have children, money isn't a big deal because you got all this love around you, you know. You can live pretty poor and have 10 children, and you know, you got all this.
Yeah, and I've seen it done reasonably well with a few people, but the largest majority, and of course they live in a totally different society, is people like the Amish. Some of those Amish have some big families. Some of them get accused of having big families because they're making slave labor out of their children. You talk to the children, and it's a lifestyle. It's not labor. It's an education. They're learning as young people how to live their adult lives, and they're learning what it takes to do so. Even as little children, they learn what it takes by helping mom out in the garden, digging up the summer garden or the spring garden and planting and stuff there, and the young boys go out on the plows and stuff with the dads to learn how to plant in the fields and stuff. It's a very unique system. It's not slavery, it's an education. People today are afraid of work. All right, well, with that, I want to thank you for joining me, Rock. You guys have a great night. Come again. Always appreciate you. And you guys know me. I love you, but I don't give a rat's ass whether you love me back. And that's to say, I don't care if you hate me. I don't care if you don't respect me. That's on you. So may God bless you and have a good night.
your mouth.